and is now telling stories. And he has had the amazing artistry of telling a story, writing it, and now we get a chance to hear him. And everyone says that he is amazing, and we know that he is, telling Appalachian stories and also telling Irish stories. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Walt Belcher.
The first thing I need to do to get it out of the way is I don't have an Irish accent, unless they talk like this in Southern Ireland. Yeah, my folks came over, my ancestors probably came over and settled in the Appalachian region, and that's where I'm from, and the Appalachian-Irish connection lives on. And tonight I would like to tell you about the greatest folk hero in Irish mythology, the legend, Finn McCool. Now I have here a sign that has the Gaelic spelling of Fionn McCool. Became Finn McCool, and I think this is a problem for Finn because he would have been as famous. You know, they have Hercules, the Greeks have Hercules, the English, they have Robin Hood and King Arthur, the Americans have Pecos Bill and Paul Bunyan, the Norse, they have the great Thor, who is now an Avenger. And I think maybe Finn McCool could be an Avenger. I mean, try to imagine somebody who looks like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, you know, or Chris Hemsworth in a kilt. Yeah, Finn McCool there's a great many Irish stories about him. Now, I'm not going to play this because I don't know how. Actually, I'm going to do this because there's some sound effects in my story. And I want to tell you the story, one of the great stories about Finn McCool. Back in the 3rd century, ancient times, Finn McCool was a giant at one point. He was a giant. He was living in the Northern Ireland, along the coast there, north of Belfast, across the water was Scotland. Right across the water from Scotland. And every morning when Finn got up, he would walk across the valley to the edge of the water, and he would lie there under the mountains and look at the sea, and he would hear the waves. He would take his morning nap because he'd had his morning beer. And while he was there, he would hear this voice coming from across the water. "Ah, you miserable Irish punk. If I could get across this water, I would kick your butt." And it would bother him. On the other side in Scotland, there was a Scottish giant named Benadonner. Benadonner, Mountain of Thunder. Now these two giants had never seen each other. They just yelled at each other across the water. Giants can't swim. And so every morning, his sleep would be disturbed by this Benadonner yelling at him. And he would yell back, "Ah, you stupid red-haired Scot. You don't know the difference between haggis and a bagpipe." And Benadonner would say, "What? What are you talking about? That's my favorite food." And Finn would say, "Yeah, if you boil a bagpipe long enough, you can eat it." So Benadonner got really upset over this. And he would holler back one morning, he hollered back, "Finn, your mother was a druid, and your aunt was a wolf, and your cousins were dogs." And the part about the druid didn't bother him. That was true. His mother was a druid. But the part about his aunt being a wolf and his cousins being dogs, well, that bothered him, cut him to the quick there. Because long ago, when he was a child being raised in the forest by his aunt, there had been a price on his father's head, and his father had been killed. And Finn had gone as a baby to live with his aunt because his mother feared that he would be in trouble. And his aunt had been cursed at one point by a demon in the forest. And she'd been turned into a wolf just as she was about to give birth to twins. And the twins were born as dogs. And they were a special breed of dog. They were the Irish Wolfhound, the largest dog in the world. And if you look at an Irish Wolfhound today, You might look into its eyes and see something human in its eyes, something intelligent. And these two dogs were Finn's cousins, and they were his companions early in life. But now they were gone, and this bothered him. And he said, I decided right there Finn was going to go across and build a walkway across to Scotland. He was going to put his big giant that he was, he would gather up all these rocks that were laying around, he'd plant them into the sea, and he would go across, and he would just dispatch Ben O'Donnell right forward. So he worked all day, and he worked all into the night, putting big columns of stone into the water to make a causeway across, a walkway from Ireland to Scotland. And in the morning, he'd almost finished it, and the fog was clearing, and he could see Ben O'Donnell over there asleep. And he looked at him, and he said, oh my God, he's bigger than I thought he was. He's huge. He's monstrous. His legs are like giant oaks. I don't think I can beat him. And so he runs home. He runs back across, goes to his giant home where his wife, Una, is waiting. And he says, Una, Ben O'Donnell, I built the walkway across the water, and Ben O'Donnell's coming, he'll kill us. I'm sure he is. He's so much bigger and stronger than I am. I don't know what to do. And Una's smarter and wiser than Finn said, well, I have a plan. Here, dear, drink your morning beer. And into the morning beer, she slips a sleeping potion. And Finn falls asleep. And she takes his clothes off of him and wraps him in blankets. And she puts a little tablecloth over his head, like a doily over his head. And she lays him into a firebox, which looks like a cradle. Big wooden firebox. And about that time, Ben O'Donnell is walking across, coming closer, and he knocks on the door, and she opens the door, and he says, where's that Finn, that measly, miserable Finn? I'm here to kill him. And she says, oh, don't worry about him. He's gone for a walk. He didn't even think about you. He didn't know you were coming. He's gone for a walk, and it's just me and the baby here. And he looks over at the baby, and it's Finn asleep. He says, well, that's the ugliest baby I've ever seen. I never saw a baby with a beard and a mustache before, and its breath stinks of beer. She says, oh, well, don't worry about that. This is Finn's son. He says, oh, I wonder how big Finn is. And she says, we're about to have some pancakes. Would you like some pancakes? Now, Una had prepared these big, large pancakes to feed Finn, and in the top pancake, she had slipped in some pieces of iron. And she gave that iron-laden pancake to Ben O'Donnell, and he bit down on it. Oh, he broke a tooth. And she says, oh, I don't understand that. He says, this is the worst pancake I've ever had. She says, I don't understand that. The baby likes it. And so, even though Finn was asleep, he never refused food. She took the pancake, one of the good pancakes that didn't have any metal in it, and he just ate it up in his sleep, licked his lips. And the giant said, oh my gosh, he can eat that. And he can eat that, and he's much, much bigger than a baby should be. And if he's that big, I wonder how Finn is. And my tooth is hurting, and I want to take a look at his teeth. So he puts his finger up on Finn's lip and pushes it up, and Finn wakes up and bites down his finger. A piece of blood squirts out, and he runs out the door, and he runs down, and Ben O'Donnell is running across the causeway, over to Scotland, running over the hills. And Finn jumps up and sees him running and says, run away, you coward. You're just afraid. You're going to keep running. And I'll get you. I'll get you. And he chases after him, and he sees that he can't catch him. So he picks up a piece of dirt, and he throws it at him. Of course, the piece of dirt goes the wrong way because Finn's a terrible shot. It lands out in the ocean. And he never sees the giant again. And as the giant is running away, he's stomping up the walkway behind him and stomping it into the ground so that no one can come across anymore between Scotland and Ireland. He and Finn can't get across to kill him. And so he goes off over the hill, and we never see Ben O'Donnell again. And Finn, well, some people say that what remains is, if you've ever been to Ireland, or Scotland on the other side, you'll see these giant columns. It's called the Giant's Causeway, and it's the biggest tourist attraction. The Irish consider it the eighth wonder of the world, and people come out from all over the world to see it. And scientists will tell you that this was the result of a volcano erupting, and this molten lava left that there. But we know better. We know what really caused it. It was McCool.